Hello everyone. Today we're going to explore a powerful method for solving quadratic equations, factorization. Quadratic equations are mathematical expressions of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b and c are constants and x is a variable. Factorization is a technique that involves expressing a quadratic equation as a product of two binomials. In other words, the equation can be rewritten as px plus q times rx plus s equal to 0. The first step to factorize a quadratic equation is to identify the values of a, b, and c in the equation. This can be done by comparing the general equation to the equation given in the question. To help better understand, let's do an example side by side. We need to solve the equation x squared minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. Here, we identify our numbers as 1, negative 3, and negative 10. Step 2 is to look for factor pairs. We need to find two numbers whose product is a times c and whose sum is b. In our case, a times c gives us negative 10. So we need two numbers that multiply to give negative 10 and add up to give negative 3. The best way here to find these values is to list the prime factors of negative 10. Please make sure you review the video on LCM if this part does not fully make sense. We see that it can be written as either plus 2 and negative 5 or negative 2 and plus 5. Since we need the values to add up to give negative 3, we know that our numbers are negative 5 and positive 2. Now we have our factors x minus 5 and x plus 2. In the final step, we equal each of them to 0, and we get x equals 5 and x equals negative 2. We were able to make factors directly in this case because the value of a was 1 here. In the next example, we will go over a different scenario. Okay, so let's try the example. 2x squared plus 13x plus 15 equal to 0. First, we identify the numbers a equals 2, b equals 13, and c equals 15. Additionally, a times c equals 2 times 15, or 30. Now we move on to listing the factors of 30. First, we can divide by 2, and that leaves us with 15. Next, we will divide by 3 and be left with 5. Therefore, the prime factors are 2, 3, and 5. Since we need just two numbers, then we will create different combinations by multiplying these numbers with one another. The different combinations we can make now from these numbers are 6 and 5 from multiplying 2 and 3 together, 10 and 3 by multiplying 2 and 5, and 15 and 2 multiplying 3 and 5. Now, for our question in hand, we see that positive 10 and 3 are the two numbers we are looking for as they add up to 13. Then we can express the middle term as these numbers. Remember that we did not do this step for the previous question. That is because we can make factors directly only when a is 1. Since it is 2 in this case, we use this approach. The way to factorize this now is to look at the first two and the last two terms separately and take a common multiple between them. For the first two terms, we take 2x common, and for the last two, we take 3 common. Now, x plus 5 is the common factor here, and so the equation becomes x plus 5 times 2x plus 3. Now, we equal both of them to 0. Hence, our answers become negative 3 over 2 and negative 5.